light up the world. We light up the world.
Welcome to Fire to Inspire the podcast. I'm your host, Angel Yasmin, and we are live at Creative Con Conference Black Writers Weekend here at Auburn Ave Research Library. I'd like to welcome Tamika Newhouse to the show. She's the founder of Creative Con, and she's going to tell you all the details on what goes down at this awesome event. So let's welcome Tamika to the show. What's up, girl?
I'm trying to make it through because these type of weekends takes a lot to produce. I mean, dealing with hundreds of people at one time, I'm going crazy right now. But other than that, I'm excited.
Okay, well, I'm excited for you. This is dope. Like, I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
You have created Black Writers Weekend. So tell us, how did you get started in the industry?
Oh, wow. Well, I got started because I discovered self-publishing. This is about 11 years ago. And I launched an online book club because I wanted people to start talking about our books. Because I felt like I'm a writer, but no one is going to really give me the chance because I'm new. So let me give new writers a chance. From there, I began to develop conferences and virtual meetups and all that jazz. And it just went on from there. And this is my first year actually branding it as Black Writers Weekend because I wanted people to embrace books a little bit more. Like, books and writing is like dope. It's fun. Storytelling is amazing.
Awesome.
And without the writer anyway, we wouldn't have movies. We wouldn't have music. Like, we wouldn't have plays. But we're not technically on the front line. Nobody's really talking about the writers. So I want to change that narrative. And also I wanted to give writers the knowledge, which is what Creative Con is about.
Wow.
Like, we give them all kind of free information, and from publishing to screenwriting to social media to branding to any and everything that you can think of.
This is awesome. I mean, you have over 40 speakers in the building right now, right?
No,
well, over the weekend. So tell us, like, what are some of the panel discussions?
There's an all-male panel called His Stories.
Okay.
It's because the black male voice is extremely important to me, because not only did we come into this country not being able to read or write, but they didn't want us to understand our culture, our language, or any of that. There are thousands and thousands of black published writers. Like, that is like something to really like celebrate over. Not only can they can't take away our story. Once it's put out there into the atmosphere, it's out there forever. So we have a panel called His Stories, which is featuring an all-male panel. Then we have a panel called Black Magic.
Oh,
and that's featuring an all-female panel of sci-fi and fantasy writers. Yes. We write sci-fi, we write fantasy, we write all of that. So I wanted to celebrate that and feature all black women that write in that genre. And then we have a children's book panel because I wanted to talk about diversity in children's books. So growing up, I didn't read a lot of books that had a character like me in there. So bringing in writers that, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all.
This is so good.
Y'all see how awesome this is? Can we get excited? Okay.
I'm excited. I'm really excited for you. And I thank you for what you're bringing to the community.
Well,
because it's needed. I mean, this platform is needed.
It's a book is needed more than its work. And we
come on.
And actually, we're going to still be twerking this weekend. At the parties and stuff. We got the book bag.
Yeah, you have to win.
We got the social tonight with Carl Thomas.
Oh,
okay. So, yeah, make sure y'all come out and party with us tonight at the Republic Lounge.
Nice.
I just try to make it look like the books and writers are fun. We are not boring, well, some of us. Like, we like to go out and party and stuff and drink and all that. So that's what Black Writers Weekend is about. It's just a big party and celebration of our books, our stories, and an unconventional one.
Awesome. Well, it's definitely a party with a purpose, and I'm really proud of
party
you.
With a purpose.
Yes, baby. It's going to go down all weekend long at Black Writers Weekend.
Yes.
You guys get here. Come on, connect with people. Let's do this. Tell people where they can find you on social media.
Oh, you can find me at Tamika Newhouse. That's on Instagram, Twitter, my Facebook, all that jazz. And this new house, like I bought $1 million new house.
Oh,
and that's Tamika with an I. And then, of course, if you want to come to the events, some of the events are sold out, but a lot of these things are free. So go to the website, look at the addresses, and pop up. There are no excuses. Go to blackwritersweekend.com. Creative Con is going on right now, but it's going on all day as well as tomorrow morning. So go to thecreativecon.com. And there are no excuses, guys.
No excuses.
blackwritersweekend.com. That is not hard to... Come on.
Come on, guys.
On Instagram, Twitter, all that. Black Writers Weekend. Black Writers Weekend. Stay with me. Black Writers Weekend.
Twerk.
Yeah.
Look.
Twerk with some look.
I'm I'm excited for you. I know you have a lot going on, so I'm going to let you go, do your thing.
I'm actually about to go do an appearance, and then I have to come right back up.
Awesome. What's up? We are back live right here at Black Writers Weekend. I have a guest speaker by the name of LaToya Smith.
Yes.
And she is actually one of the guest speakers here at the Black Writers Weekend. So I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Okay.
So tell me, what topics are you teaching today?
So my name is LaToya Smith, and I am a developmental editor and literary agent. I have my own business, LCS Literary Services, where I teach courses, I do developmental editing, and I also represent a few authors in which I try to get them deals with publishers. So today, my role was to teach a class on story development, and basically it's just giving writers the tools to kind of get started. A lot of people want to write, but they have no idea kind of how to begin. What are the important pieces of a story that they need to incorporate? And so I pretty much just started out talking about, what is your plot? Who are your characters? Kind of how you go about creating those characters, creating the setting for your story, everything from tone, perspective, voice, climax of your story, in addition to understanding what kind of story you're writing. Are you writing fiction? Are you writing nonfiction? Are you writing a short story? Are you writing a novel? A lot of people don't know the difference, and they don't understand the importance of research, knowing their market, knowing what best-selling books look like. Because without that, it's hard to write one. There are a lot of naturally talented people, but then there are also people who want to write and don't understand honing in on their craft, understanding what it takes to write a story, what are the different pieces of a story, how you put together a story. And so I'm hoping that the people who attended my class got a little something out of it, kind of know how to fix stories they might already be working on, or even better, how to get started if they have a story in their mind that they want to get out. So that was what I taught today, and hopefully, I'll get some new writers out there.
Yes, that is so awesome that you offer that service. I mean, it's so needed in our community.
Absolutely.
Our African American community needs to get out there and write more, write their stories, be creative, and just do it. I mean, the first thing that we need to do is just say, let's write our story, get it out there, don't be afraid.
Correct.
Because a lot of times we're afraid to tell our story.
Yes. And I think also people get into a lot of the technicalities. I mean, don't get me wrong, writing is technical, and you should understand the different pieces of writing, which is why I always recommend creative writing classes and reading other best-selling books. I mean, there are so many examples out there for you to kind of see, okay, if you want to write a memoir, look at some best-selling memoirs, especially within an audience that you're trying to capture, because then you can kind of see, okay, what are they talking about? What time period are they covering? If you're writing a fiction novel, and let's say you're writing a thriller or a mystery, read best-selling thrillers and mysteries. So you see how they're piecing out the story, what tone, what perspective, is it first person, is it third person? All of these things are really important. And I think that some people try to jump from point A to B without taking the steps in between to get there. And those steps are very important, because when you skip steps, then usually you're skipping really important information that you need to be successful.
Well, what do you hope the audience gets from you today?
So I'm hoping to just let them know that there are people out there with a wealth of information that is not necessarily perspective-based, but more facts. And so I think if you understand, what traditional publishing is, what self-publishing is, and you understand the facts, then you can determine, okay, you know what, I don't think I'm cut out for self-publishing, so I'm going to try to get a traditional publisher, or vice versa. And so I just want people to understand that there's a lot of information out there that they need to get, and they need to do research, because you are your biggest supporter. So if you don't know what you write, you don't know how to classify it, you don't know where you fit in the market, nobody else will. So it starts with you, and that's what I wanted people to get out of my session today, that it starts with you, and you're the one who, writing the book is probably 25% of the job. Everything else is promotion and branding and marketing.
It's a
and
business.
Selling.
It's a business in publishing a
Very
book.
much, yeah.
And a lot of times people don't know, especially if they want to go in and be a guest speaker, the main thing they need to understand is having a book.
Yes.
That's a license in going into the speaker world. People don't realize that's how you get invited to speak at different events and stuff like that. They're like, okay, what book did you write?
Yes.
What did you, that's the
it goes
credibility.
both ways too, because unless you self-publish, if you don't have those speaking engagements, book publishers probably won't give you the deal because you don't have an audience built in. So the one tool that I left with the class today, which I think is super important, when you're writing nonfiction, you bring the audience, okay? And so that means that you have to have a platform, you have to have a brand, you have to have something that people recognize and they are coming to you. However, when you write fiction, typically the publisher is bringing the audience because they know this genre, they know how to sell it, and so all they need is the story from you and they can take it from there. So I try to encourage writers to understand this because everyone has a story to tell. But who do you know that's going to read it? Your family is not enough. And you have to have a built-in audience if you're writing nonfiction. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to sell it to a publisher. Now, of course, again, self-publishing, you can do whatever you want. You can do the opposite and put it out and then find the market later. But I always tell people, make good use of your time. And so you might want to build yourself to get to that platform point so that when you write your book, you have the audience there.
Now, what are some ways that we can build?
So for the nonfiction folk, definitely, guest writing articles, blogging, networking, because it might not always just be your own platform. You might know a ton of people with the platform that you're looking for, and they will help endorse and push your book. So it's who you know, it's who you are, building on social media, of course, getting out there, going to events like this, networking, meeting people, definitely trying to get in online magazines, periodicals, anything like that, to just boost. And basically it's all about getting in front of eyeballs, right? Getting seen. And so however that is, if it's at conferences, if it's on social media, if it's online media, podcasting, all those different things, those are all different tools that you can use. Or it could be experience. So for example, I know a woman who started her own almost like a doggy spa, like a pet spa, and she wanted to do a book, and I'm like, nobody knows who you are yet. So you can't do a business book on entrepreneurship and your business just started. So what you want to do is build your business, take a few years, get on local media, get on the radio, advertise, build your business so that when you write a book, people know who you are and they'll be willing to go to you to take your advice. If I don't know who you are, I might not want to take your advice.
I'm not going to buy into you.
Correct.
You know what? That is really good. That's some good gems you just dropped.
Yes.
I mean, you don't want to spin your wheels.
Correct.
That's what a lot of people do. I see a lot of people that are self-publishers, and they're like wondering, like, why is nobody buying my book?
Right.
Because nobody knows who you are. So
and
that's very key, what you said. Very key.
Yes. Also, I think you should take your time. I think sometimes people want to rush the process.
There you go.
You can't rush you can't rush perfection.
Ooh.
So I always say, a slow yes is better than a fast no. So you want to take your time. You want to get that manuscript polished, especially if you're submitting to agents or editors. You want to get that manuscript polished. You want to get your name out there. You want to build your brand, build your platform. So that way, when you take your shot, you got a good shot, and you don't get, because sometimes you only get one.
You only get one. You don't want to get shot down.
Correct. Because you're being too hasty and you're not really taking the proper steps to make sure your content, everything is as strong as possible.
Look at you. You know your stuff. Well, I know who to call. I'm ready to publish a book after I've got this all out in the audience. Okay? Guys, you have to find Toya Smith.
Yes.
You got to find her. Tell them how you find you online and on social media. Okay?
Of course. So you can definitely check me out. Check out my experience. Some of the authors I've worked with on my website, www.lcsliterary.com. I'm also on Facebook with Toya C. Smith. I'm on Instagram, Glam Editor Girl, and I'm on Twitter, Glam Editor _girl.
All right. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you
Toya.
for having me.
Look, guys, you have to be at Black Writers Weekend. It's full of people with good topics, and we're going to learn so much this weekend. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right. So what's up? We are back live right here at Black Writers Weekend. So tell me, we have another guest speaker.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. What's your name?
My name is Remy Adeleke.
Whoa, that's a nice name.
Yeah, thank you.
Where are you from?
I was born in West Africa, Nigeria.
Okay.
My dad, he was a Nigerian engineer and a chief in the Nigerian tribes, and the Yoruba tribe. That's why our last name, Adeleke, means the crown is above the Yoruba.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you right here at Black Writers Weekend. So what are you covering today? What are you discussing on the panel?
Today I was on the His Story panel and just discussing being a black writer and the importance of telling black stories from the perspective of a male, a black African-American man, and just the struggles of being an African-American in our current society and past and in the present. So it was very encouraging to sit on a panel with other authors, black authors, who were sharing their stories and just hearing their perspective was amazing.
You know what? I think this is very vital in our community because we don't hear enough from our African-American men. We hear women empowerment everywhere. We can't get away from the women, and I'm very proud of us because we speak up. But I would love to see more of our men get on the panel and talk about it and teach and reach our African-American community because we need it. You get what I'm saying?
I agree 100%.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Like the audience, what do you think they're going to take away with them?
I think they're going to take away just that there are stories out there.
Okay.
And there are men willing to tell these stories. And these stories are important. And it's okay for men to be vulnerable. I think that sometimes in culture, and whether it's African American culture and all cultures in general, like for a man to be open and vulnerable, that can be looked upon as weak. And so I think that one thing that'll come away from this panel is the fact that it's okay for an African American black man. That takes true strength.
Yes. So let's talk about the book that you published. What's the name of your book?
Name of the book is Transformed. That's the title. Subtitle is A Navy SEAL's Unlikely Journey from the Throne of Africa to the Streets of the Bronx and Defying All Odds. It's my journey story going from Africa, riches in Africa, to poor, to moving to the States, growing up in the Bronx, getting involved in drugs, finding my way into the Navy, becoming a Navy SEAL, then falling into Hollywood, being an actor, writer, producer. So it just covers that journey.
That's so awesome. Well, we thank you so much for joining this party with a purpose and keep doing what you're doing. Reach our African American men.
Absolutely.
They need you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us. Have a good day.
You
all
too.
right.
God bless you.
All right. God bless you. All right. So we're fired up right here. I have another special guest. Levi is in the building.
What's up?
What's up, Levi? Tell us what you got going on today.
Yes, I'm super duper excited to be here for Black Writers Weekend, and thank you to Tamika for having us here. But I just wrapped up doing the His Story panel with a set of other great individuals. And I talked about my two books. The first one is called Young Sir, 12 Principles for Becoming a Man of Character, Commitment, and Courage. And in that book, I talk about how I navigated the terrains of manhood on my own, grew up in a single-parent home, and all that good stuff. So I had to figure that out. And then my second book, the abbreviated version, was just released on Amazon for the digital copy, and it went number 1 in 3 categories. Holla at your boy, what's up? But the official copy will be coming out on June 21st. But that was called Rule by Decree: Protocols for Strategic Declarations. And I'll say it as fast as possible, but a lot of times we're living in a world where when people pray, they say, I decree and I declare, and they have no idea what that means. And so a decree is a law. And historically, kings and queens make laws and those type of decisions. And so in this book, I'm teaching the roles and the functions of a king. Because if I ask the average individual, what does a king do? They'll say, oh, they're over a country. That's true, but what else? They don't understand that they check ambassadors, they check protocols, they check structures and all of that stuff. And I feel like if you know that information, it'll make you more confident when you're praying, but then also more confident as you're making declarative statements for your life. Wow. The other part about that is kings are also the army general. And when you're the army general, that's a whole nother set of roles and functions. I break that down as well because I feel like knowledge is power, as we know. Absolutely. And the more you know, the more confident you can be. So that's who I am. You can find the book on Amazon.com, go to my website, LeviRHealENT.com, or social media and all that.
Oh my God, I just love you. You are dope. Like, I love your message that you want to give to the young men that really, really need it.
Absolutely.
Continue to do it. The world needs you. The men that need you.
Thank you.
We need more people, like I said before with our other guest speaker, that we need more men stepping up to the plate.
Yes.
Because we have women all day long. We don't have enough.
First book, if I'm honest, I didn't even want to write it because statistically more women read books than men. So why am I going to write a book for young men that, first of all, statistically don't read books, and then how do you even know you need this, and why would you want it? But I had to do it regardless. It was a God-given assignment. I did it,
Yeah.
and I don't regret it. And I've been hearing nothing but great things from it. And it's my hope that we'll continue to reach other churches or organizations or young men group or whatever the case may be. So if y'all want me to come holler at you and yo young men, hit me up. I'm here to serve.
Yes. Y'all, he's awesome. Please hit him up. It's going down right here on Fire to Inspire. Thank you so much for joining this party with a purpose. I'm so elated to meet you.
Likewise.
All
We got to
right.
stay in touch.
Yes, we do. Take care, man.
All right.
I love you, Levi. You're awesome.
Thanks. You're awesome.
Thank you. All right, so we are back with our next speaker, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. What's your name?
My name is Kondwani Fidel. I'm from Baltimore. I reside in Baltimore. I'm the author of Raw Wounds and my third book, Hummingbirds in the Trenches.
Okay, well, tell us what inspired this message that you wanted to put out in the audience.
So when I first started writing in 2011, I just always wanted to be good at what I do. I was influenced heavily by hip-hop. You know, a lot of hip-hop revolves around storytelling. So I did nothing but just tell my stories because that's what the people that I looked up to did. And I just saw how it was motivating other people. It was inspiring people from my neighborhood who felt like they didn't have a voice, they didn't have an outlet. And I never got into it to speak for other people or be the voice because I believe that everybody got their own voice. You get what I'm saying? Everybody say, oh, I'm the voice of this. Like, when we need to just do more passing the mic. But, you know, just traveling throughout the country, outside the country, sharing these stories, letting the world know what's Baltimore like for me. You know, what was it like coming up? What's like now? Just making people feel human. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of synonymous to, right, you see a meme or something on Twitter or Instagram. It got like 80,000 likes or something. But you thought that you was the only person who thought that way. But when you see how many people relate to it, you feel human again. Okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not, you know, different from, you know, a lot of people how I thought we all are the same. And I feel like, you know, that's what I do through my storytelling.
Wow. So what do you think the audience can take away from your message today?
I just want the audience to take this away. My mentor, D. Watkins, he says, if you're not telling your story, you're giving society the space to kill you.
Oh, man.
And it's important because us as black people in this country, we never had the luxury to tell our own stories. It was white people telling what they thought our stories were, how they think we feel, how they think we pain, how they think we heal. You get what I'm saying? And now that we have the luxury to tell our own stories, we gotta go all the way. We gotta tell, you know, the stuff that's gonna make people cry, but, you know, it's gonna be stuff that make people laugh. We just gotta continue to tell our truth.
So how do you think you can make an impact in the community where you are right now? Because, I mean, I feel like we need to reach each one and teach each one.
So what I'm doing right now in Baltimore City, I visit a lot of schools, a lot of high schools, a lot of elementary, middle schools, a lot of colleges. I teach creative writing workshops. I work through certain organizations like Hooks for Books, and we donate books to these schools. You know, a lot of these students, they come to me on social media or in real life and say, you know, I never read a book from cover to cover, but, you know, I read your book and I read your stuff, and, you know, because you're a writer, I want to explore writing, or because, you know, you from my neighborhood and we see you touring in the UK, that means that I can make something better out of my life, because relatability is important and it matters, right? Relatability is the reason that I am who I am today. Seeing people who look like me, who share some of the same social contacts, you get what I'm saying, where I come from, they may be like, oh, all right, if you can do it, I can do it too. Right. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm getting my MFA in creative writing from UB, because I saw somebody that looked like me, you get what I'm saying, that tackled that. You get what I'm saying? So I would say this, anybody out there that's trying to figure out ways to help people, it's not that hard. We psych ourselves out with more ways of how, you get what I'm saying, it's hard to help people when it's not. But everybody has some type of privilege. Everybody has some type of skill. Take that skill, see how you could teach it to people who come from neighborhoods like the ones that, you know, we come from, or, you know, even if you don't come from a neighborhood similar to mine, how can you teach this skill to people who don't have opportunities? You get what I'm saying? Like, that's not afforded these resources every day. Like, how can you get at the people and make it accessible for free? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I do. Like, I got a homeboy named Tone. He from East Baltimore, and he trained people in the neighborhood, and he like do free workouts with them and put them on healthy eating plans for free, because you know they can't afford gym memberships. And that's just one of the many things that's going on that's not in the mainstream media. So how can you take what you know and what you got and give it to the people for real? That's it. It's just as easy as that.
Look, I got mad respect for you. Like, you guys are out there getting your hands dirty.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to hear. You're not just out here talking.
Right.
You are actually putting forth action.
Right.
And I commend you, sir.
Appreciate that.
That is awesome work. That's
Thank
awesome work. And you are king.
Thank you.
So, you know what? Tell the audience where they can find you on social media.
Okay, so I'm on all social media at Kondwani Fidel. That's KONDWANIFIDEL. And my website is kondwanifidel.com.
That's what's up. Y'all go follow him. He sounds like, woo, you got a lot of power behind you, a lot of fire.
Thank you.
And it looks like you need to do your own podcast. You got a good voice.
Thank you.
I mean, I really tune into you. That's really good.
Appreciate that.
All right, I wish you the best.
Thank you.
It's been good.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We are back live at Black Writers Weekend. It is popping. We are so fired up. I have another speaker right here. Actually, she's a writer.
Yes.
You have published a book. Tell us the name. Tell us your name.
Yes. My name is Shawana Brooks, and I published my first book in January. It's called My Agape, and it's a memoir. It kind of takes you through those real life experiences and the inspiration that you get from each one. So each stage of my life, I learned something different and made me a different person, and this kind of takes you through that journey of where I am now.
Now, what inspired the title? I love it.
My Agape. My Agape means unconditional and selfless love. And that really resonated with me because I really feel like I did not reach my full potential until I really discovered that love I have for myself, that love I have for God.
Yes.
And, you know, when you put both of those together, I just feel like it just made me like this unstoppable person. And that's where I'm at today.
I love it. So what is it that you do every day?
Every day I teach high school biology and environmental science.
Awesome.
So that's my day job. I also have a hair app called I Weave Hair. So I do sell hair extensions, clip-ins.
Okay.
The man weave is now the new thing. So yeah, we've been kind of, doing a little bit of everything. So by day, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a teacher. I love science. So
awesome.
That's just kind of like my passion. And then in the midst of me, meeting so many students, that's how the book came about.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy and to hear what you're doing and what you're bringing to the community. Keep doing it, girl. Keep shining.
Thank you.
All right, so tell people where they can find you online on social media.
Absolutely. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Shawana F. Brooks, and it's spelled SHAWANA Brooks. And I'm also, you can purchase my book online. Amazon is there. You type me in.
You are official on Amazon.com.
So yes, you can definitely search me, Google me. I'll come up, and I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for joining this party with a purpose.
Yes.
We'll be right back. All right, so we are back with our next speaker, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. What's going on, man?
Yo, my name is Kelsey Maynard.
All
Everybody
right.
On Instagram is What's Up Kels. It's just literally What's Up Kels.
So, what's up, Kels?
Yeah.
What do you have going on today? What were you covering on the panel today?
Yo, so we had a panel called His Story, and it was really just about, black male authors sharing their stories, their personal stories, as well as why we wrote the books, and we authored the books that we had. My book is called Help, I'm Talking to Myself, and it literally was what was going on. I was just talking to myself. The subtitle, 50 Speeches I Wrote to Keep from Going Crazy, it's just that. This book is full of 50 stories or 50 speeches. And I say speeches, and I mean speeches, like what I want you to say out loud. These are things I said in the mirror to myself aloud, and I wrote them down because, you ever watch a Gary Vee or Aaron Thomas or any motivational speaker, or maybe it's TD Jakes or whatever. You're listening and you receive this information, you get all motivated. But then when it's time for you to truly face your obstacles, your opposition, or stand up and do your goals to say you wanted to, you don't have the ability to speak into yourself the things necessary to get to the goal.
Wow, that's really good. So what inspired the title? Let's talk about this book. Let's go really deep on some of the misconceptions that you see in your community.
I use the word help, and help so big because as a black man on the front cover of a book with the word help, we never ask for it. And so it's not a question like help, it's a statement like help.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily that I need help, but I did. And I was talking to myself, and the whole idea of I'm talking to myself because it's a stereotype of it's crazy. You see somebody in the corner talking to somebody, like, man, who are you talking to? Man, that man must be crazy. But he's not crazy. He might be sorting out his thoughts. He could be preparing himself for a speech. He could be saying, you know what? You got this. You about to go kill it. Then what you about to do? You about to walk into that room, that $1 million deal is sitting on the table. But as long as I'm sitting here doubting myself and not speaking over it, I'm never going to get it. So this book is really speeches I wrote that that got me to navigate through certain situations. Some of it is fear and doubt about myself. That I said, nah, you don't have this no more. And just wrote it down because I spoke it already.
Wow, that's so good. So tell us where you're from.
Originally from Hampton, Virginia, but I've been in Atlanta. I'm not an Atlanta native, but I love this city.
Oh, okay. So what impact do you want to bring to the community?
I wrote in this young lady's book a little while ago. She's going to hate me, I wrote this, but it said, be you. And that's a very cliche, very, very, I don't know, generic statement. People say, just be you, boo-boo. It's like, not do you, be you. And it's so difficult to, I said, it's probably one of the most difficult tasks or accomplishments that you'll ever have is being you. And I want people to be themselves, understand themselves. Sometimes you do it and you don't know why you did it. I want you to know why you did it, why you're doing the things you do. What goals have you accomplished, and what did you do to get there? And my book is a testament of saying, hey, I was feeling this way. These are the things I said to myself. Not saying these things are going to work for you, but occasionally there will be some stories in this book that are going to resonate. Oh, man, I felt that. Oh, man, it takes you back somewhere. Make a note of that, because those are the type of words or situations that you've experienced or will experience. And the book is just reminding you of things that when I go into a situation, do this or try this. You'll feel it.
Awesome.
Can I preach real quick?
Yeah, come on, preach.
So the reason I say that because I was on a panel and I was in LA a few months ago. And the young lady she was in finance. She asked her, say, I'm in a financial background. I do credit and personal finance and budgeting and blah, 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 and things of that nature. She said, do you feel like a lot of people tend to have mental health, mental breakdowns and stress and anxiety when it comes to talking about money? You think that's one of the main triggers? And I was like, nah. Me personally, money is a problem that I don't care about. Not enough problems, but money ain't one of those. Not because I'm rich and wealthy, because that's not something that affects me like that. I'm rich in other things, So money, granted, you need it, you want to pay your bills, but that's not something that stresses me out. I said, but if you read the Bible, there's a story about Jesus walking with his disciples and all this whole crowd of people around him, millions of people, hundreds of thousands, millions of people walking around him, bumping into him, bumping into the disciples. Not one lady came up behind him, touching him in his garment. Mm-hmm. He said, who touched me? And his disciples said, Negro, are you crazy?
Really? You touched me?
Who didn't touch you?
Ooh.
But the statement is not who touched me, but there's certain people that can touch you and you feel it.
That's good.
Just the same way I can say, girl, your hair looks good, and your homie will come and say, girl, your hair looks good. You're like, really? I don't think so. And you'll start to, you felt differently when she said something about you, or when that person that can really push your buttons. Mm-hmm. Why can that person push your buttons, but other people can't push a button like that person did? Because you feel things differently. So whatever triggers, like I said, these books will touch on different triggers. And if you feel triggered by that may be a spot that you're sensitive in.
Yes, and work on it. Define it and work on it. I love it. It's something, mental health is something that we really, as an African American community, need to speak up about. We need to be a little bit more vulnerable and talk about it and not just think that, counseling is just for the white people. I want to just be real. That's how we feel. We feel like we don't need therapists. We don't need counseling. But we really have those people like the pastors in your community. You have friends in your community that are actually leaders that can advise you and really take you to the next level, because there's some people out here that are really struggling. They're struggling.
My take on therapy is less about, it's not the crazy part. I think it's crazy to have all these thoughts, ideas, experiences, and feelings and not be able to communicate it.
Yes.
So therapy, to me, is an opportunity for me to sit down with somebody who's not being subjective, being objective about what I'm talking about, and helping me sort out my thoughts, so that when I speak on it, not saying I don't sound intelligent, but I understand what I'm talking about. So many times you say, yo, how you feeling? I'm like, I don't know. I'm feeling all right. I don't know means I don't know. I can't verbally, I can't put the feelings into words to communicate it with somebody. And that's why our community breaks down. Not all white people have the ability to communicate well, and those people who can't communicate aren't always successful. We want to be successful as a person, as a family, as a culture, and so we have to learn how to communicate how we're feeling, what we're feeling, so we can say to other people, so that if I can't ask you for help, if I don't know what to ask for, you can't help me.
Right. Well, you know what? You have really dropped some gems today.
I
appreciate you.
Hey.
I know. The first time I didn't even push the record button, but look, we really got some really good stuff on this one. And I thank you for what you do to the community. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being the example. Always. So tell people where they can find and shop for your book.
Yeah, so I said the social media is What's Up Kels. That's WHATSUPKELS. You go on there, you can find my website, kelseymaynard.com. Everything is on that website. Everything's on social media as well. I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Yes, all
Buy a
right.
book, say what's up, just write in the DMs. It's all good. We got all love out here.
It's amazing. All right, so thank you for joining this party with a purpose. It's been a pleasure. So I am here with my special guest and a dear friend of mine, Georgia Dawkins. What's going on, beautiful?
Hey, girl, I'm hungry.
You should have got some of that
Let's
good
just start off
pizza.
being honest. I didn't even know there was pizza.
Oh, okay.
And the food was in my class. Yeah.
But look, I want to know about your story. What's the name of your book?
Everybody knows the power of being in position. It's a story of hope, redemption, and spirituality.
Awesome. So what inspired this message? Like, what are you telling us? What do we expect from your book? What's the story? I
You
want to
can
know.
expect to inhale, exhale, cry, laugh, I'm told it's a roller coaster, that it's an experience. I just got this amazing review yesterday from a reader, a woman who just bought my book last week. She left a message about her experience. She read the book in 24 hours. She was done. She already had her pages folded, cornered, and highlights. And she just talked about how the book has already set her life in motion for transition, for change, for purpose. And I needed that right then, So this week I'm publishing the second edition of Everybody Knows the Power of Being in Position. And it's not easy when you're self-published and, KDP, Amazon is kicking things back saying, you need to change these dimensions and change this. And that book is already up on Amazon. And so why are you even... So anyway, thank you, Amazon, for all that you do for self-published authors out there. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of heavy lifting when you're doing it for yourself. Right. So I really needed that word of encouragement this week, that reminder that my story's not just for me. It's for everybody else.
Amen. I just love your spirit. You're beautiful inside and out.
Thank you, Queen. I love your lashes. And your edges, girl.
But look, I want to talk about, what did you speak about today? You were actually a guest speaker. So what did you teach today?
I don't know. When I got there were people already in the room, so I was waiting on a class to finish, and that wasn't a class. It was the people who were waiting on me to start mine.
Oh,
and so
okay.
it was how to pitch to networks.
Okay.
Yes. So, as you know, I help create and develop Sister Circle Live, which is on TV One right now in its second season. And no word yet about a third season, but we're going to go ahead and claim it.
Come on.
But I'm also working on some other projects, too. So I'm in this process. So I was able to have an honest conversation, not just a talk, not a TED Talk, not a speech. We had a conversation about what we all go through as creators trying to get from one point to another. One of the things I did for my book last year is I started working with a screenwriter, trying to adapt the book to screen, of course, because people would say to me, I could see this on Netflix. Oh, don't tell me that, because it's about to be on Netflix. Let's do it. So I started that process, but it was so overwhelming for me emotionally that I backed away from it. So that's the kind of honesty that people need to hear. It's not easy.
Well, are you going to get back into it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because, like I said, my story's not just for me. There are people who are going to read the book. Mm-hmm. There are people who are going to buy it. There are people who are going to read it online. There are people who are going to listen to the audio book, which is coming soon. Summer 2019.
Come on.
It's coming.
Let's do it.
But there are people who it will minister to when they see it on Netflix, or when they see it on HBO, or when they see it on Hulu, Amazon Prime. I'm just going to put them all out there. When you see it, it should speak. One of the things we talked about today is healing content. My career started in local news, so I've produced a lot of stories about bodies found and homicide investigations and fatalities and plane crashes and search underway and school lockdown. I've had to write these things over and over and over and over, and that gets into your spirit. Yeah. Now I'm in a place where God has called me to shed light, and we're in the entertainment industry. We have enough darkness. It is time to spread that light, to shine that light, no matter what, and that light shines through content.
Amen. I just love it. I love it. I love everything about what you got going on.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting God use you and answering His call.
Thank you. It's an honor to be used.
Come on.
It's an honor to be used.
So tell people how they can find you online and where they can shop for your book and where you are on social media.
Y'all can support my mixtape or at Georgia Dawkins on Instagram. I want to give a shout out to my moms, to my dad, to my little brother who's going to 9th grade next year. He's going to be a high schooler.
Hey!
But no, for real, I love us because we can be us. With
Yes,
us. So thank you.
amen.
But you can follow me at Georgia Dawkins on all social platforms, and you can also go to georgiadawkins.com to read more about my career and the work that I'm doing now with the Black News Channel, creating content and training opportunities for the historically Black colleges and universities.
Wow.
So follow me at Georgia Dawkins. You can even email me, georgia@georgiadawkins.com. I would love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining this party with a purpose.
Thank you.
I love you, girl. Keep
I
doing
love
you.
you. You keep shining your light.
Oh, thank you. You are so sweet. So we are here with our next guest speaker. I'm going to let her introduce herself. What's your name?
Hi everyone, my name is Tanisha Davis. I am a writer with Sheen Magazine. I'm also the author of my latest book, You Are Worth the Wait.
Awesome. You're with Sheen. How long have you been with Sheen Magazine?
I've been with Sheen now about 2 years.
That's really incredible. So tell me about your book. What's the name of your book?
The book is You Are Worth the Wait. The book is basically teaching young women, men, even married couples to know your worth. Know that you're worth waiting for. It helps them to build self-esteem. Just understand things that you deserve in your life, not to settle for less.
Well, that's awesome. That's a good message. But what do you think some of the challenges that we have in the community, and how are you helping to make an impact?
I think a lot of young people today, some of the challenges finding themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times people are comparing their lives with what they see on social media, what they see posted or plastered on the covers of magazines. They think that that's the life I need to have, instead of just being yourself. And if you're not achieving that life that you think people want to see, then a lot of people become depressed and they just start doing anything they devalue.
Oh, wow. Let's talk about depression. Depression is it's a real thing.
It really is.
It's a real thing. And
Especially
some of the
today.
depression that we talk about is the low functioning depression. But let's talk about the functioning depression, like where people are out there, they're doing their thing, but they're really self-sabotaging themselves. Like, what can you tell us to do better about ourselves?
I just first it starts with self-love. You really need to learn how to love yourself and not look for someone else to give you that love or look for someone else to fill that void in your life. Like a lot of people, that's just a major issue. Like they accept and allow anything in their life, and they don't really love themselves. And they feel like I gotta be with somebody in order to feel love. But you need to take some time out for yourself. Like enjoy that single time in your life to build on yourself, to learn more about yourself, to grow spiritually, mentally, physically.
Yes.
Make any changes you feel like you want to make before you get into a relationship with someone. And so it's a lot of that going on. And so people get in relationships, they haven't healed from a previous relationship.
No.
They haven't healed from things that have happened in their past. And so now they're in a relationship with someone else and they're sabotaging that relationship.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people, they self-sabotage good relationships sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of us don't recognize that it's our problem. We blame everybody else.
Yeah.
But you need to identify that some of the things that you're experiencing in the relationships that you are in, it's about you.
Right.
So how can you fix yourself?
Right.
So you become worth it in the relationship.
Yeah.
I love how you tell them to wait.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wait before you go into it. Like, I know there's some young girls that are, and if you're listening right now, I want you to be encouraged.
Yes.
That I want you to live your life, and even young men, live your best life. I've been married twice. And I'm going to tell you, the best age to get married is when you're ready.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Yes.
So if you have not experienced life, you haven't really got it out your system, you're partying and, dating, the dating scene, don't make that commitment. Because the lust for, the party life and that different life does not go away when you get married.
Yes.
So I encourage people to just wait and do what you need to do. Get yourself together. So I love it.
They definitely need to get all of that out of the system. I like that you talked about that. Get all of that out of the system before you get married. Make sure you're ready to settle down. And even for the men, prepare yourself to be a husband. This is a preparation season. While you're single, prepare yourself to be a husband. Don't just jump out there.
Right.
And even for women, prepare yourselves to be a wife. It's a lot of preparation should be going on during your single time, and don't rush just because you see your friends, everybody popping up engaged.
Come on, that's a word.
Feel like, I've only been in a relationship for a year, so now it's time for me to get engaged. It's time for me to get married.
Yes,
no.
Don't be like everybody else. I want you guys to get your lives together, experience life. It's so much fun. Right. When you go into it, you've done everything. Like I didn't go into marriage until I knew that I was out. It was out of my system. Yes. And now I can say, you know what? I'm ready for love, and that's it.
Yes.
All right.
And so that, like my book, it covers all types of topics that are going to help young people, even people who are married. It's people that's married don't know their worth.
Amen.
They take a lot of stuff. They don't know their worth, and it's sad. But all of these things are covered in my book, and my book is on Amazon.
Okay, yes. And tell us how we can find you on, social media.
You can find me on Instagram at Tanisha D. Davis. That's TANISHA D. Davis. I'm also on Twitter at Tanisha D84. And you can also check out my website, TanishaDDavis.wordpress.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it, and let's stay in touch.
We will. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so we're back, and I have another special guest that's on the show. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. What's your name?
My name is Kimberly Jones.
What's your name?
Not too much. I'm an author. I have a new young adult novel, so it's for kids between the ages of 13 and 18, coming out called I'm Not Dying With You Tonight. So it'll be out August 6th worldwide. It'll be printed in both English and French. And it was not a true story, but it was inspired by true events. But it is a story of two girls, one black and one white, who survived the night in a race riot.
Wow, that's deep. Can you kind of take us there?
Yeah, so what happens is there's two girls, Lena and Campbell. I wrote Lena, the black girl's voice, and my co-author, Geely, who's white, she wrote Campbell, the white girl's voice, and it's told in alternating chapters. And what happens is these girls are at a high school football game, and a fight breaks out between two opposing schools who have racial tension between them, and the two girls have to escape this riot together, not knowing that on their route walking home, they're walking into another riot.
Wow.
And so they have to survive the night together, and that's why it's called I'm Not Dying With You Tonight.
That is awesome. So you were actually moderating one of the panels today.
Yes.
What were you guys discussing on the panel?
So our panel is called Diversity in Children's Literature. So we have authors that write picture books, that write middle grade books, that write YA novels. And what we're talking about is having a diverse voice in children's literature, and also having stories that tell our stories of the traumas of being black in America, but also just having a space where we could tell just fun stories. We want a black Harry Potter. We want all of these different things. And we had JD Mael on the panel, who actually has a really cool fantasy story like that coming out soon, a young adult novel. And just what it's like, because all of us are what you call traditionally published. So none of us are self-published. And also just talking about navigating that world of being with a major publishing house and having an agent, and how important it is to kind of stick up for yourself, because when I walk the halls of my publishing house, I can count the black faces in the building.
Wow.
So it's just knowing that your voice is important, and as an artist, you have a say in how your stories are told.
I love it. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for what you bring to the community. We love it. We love it. We love it. So tell people how they can find you online, where they can shop for your book, and social media.
Yes. So you can find me online, and you can order my book via my website. It's KimJonesWrites.com. Also, my book is available for pre-order on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And Barnes & Noble is doing a special edition of the book. So if you pre-order on Barnes & Noble, you will get 3 additional chapters that you won't get anywhere else.
Wow.
And you can follow me on social media, on Instagram at Kimberly Latrice Jones, and on Twitter at Kim Latrice Jones.
Well, thank you, Kim. I appreciate you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So we're back right here at Black Writers Weekend. We're having a good time, and we have a very special guest by the name of
Connie Schofield Morrison.
All right. So tell us about your book. What have you
Okay,
created?
so I created my first debut book, was I Got the Rhythm. It's a book it's an African-American girl that grows up in a city. I tend to say New York, but it becomes whatever cities our African girls need it to be. But it's based off of my life experience, and I kind of use some of the experiences of my daughters. So I learned very early in life how to create a rhythm to my own drama and to walk that path. Despite of what my reality showed me, I created my own reality, well, the path of my reality. So I came out with a book, which wound up becoming a series. The second book, after I Got the Rhythm, is I Got the Christmas Spirit. And it's the same little girl. She's going through her whole sense of Christmas, using all of her senses. And with I Got the Rhythm, she uses all of her senses as well. So she tells in her different life experiences how to use her senses and how the rhythm in the first book, how she can hear it, she can taste it, she thinks it, she breathes it, she feels it, she claps it. And in her walk through the holidays, I wanted to take the focus off of just receiving and center it around giving. So that's what I did, and I got the Christmas Spirit. The third book to the series is coming out later this year. So I Got the School Spirit. So what I wanted to do is just give our children, our African American children, a sense of life, because a lot of us drop out before high school and before college. And so I wanted them to learn how to keep that rhythm going throughout all their life experiences and through school, through the challenges, the adversities that they face through school. And sidetracked from that, I started a history series, which is about Black queens. And this genre started with a slave coming to New York. Her name was Elizabeth Keckley. I didn't like history growing up at all. One, it was always hard. Two, and looking at the picture books that I could relate to with history, they were always dark, dry, same colors, the dark browns, oranges, and blacks, and we just didn't look good. But when I looked at everyone around me, especially in my family, we were very fashionable. We all looked good. So I didn't like history. And I think Elizabeth, when she chose me to come into my dream, she knew it was going to be a challenge, because how do I go into this girl's head or into her dream and rewrite history for her? So now I'm challenging myself, and I'm creating these history books about African American queens. So my first one is Stitch by Stitch, the Elizabeth Keckley story. My second one that I just finished is Madam C.J. Walker. It's called Care Stories. So, and going into the third book of my history series is about a young, beautiful lady, Ida B. Wells. So she was an investigative journalist. So I haven't yet come up with a title yet for her. So that's the book I'm working on now.
Well, I am just so happy that you answered God's call.
Yes.
Because, man, you are killing the game. I mean, you're bestseller, right?
Yes, I am.
New York's bestseller.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's a big one. That's a big one. So I congratulate you on what you're doing, and keep doing what you do, Queen, because we all need the example. Every one of us. So tell people how they can find you online and on social media.
Okay, on social media, on Instagram, I'm I_C_N_N_I_B Connie. On Facebook, I'm Connie Schofield Morrison. And if you pull me up on Google, you'll find me everywhere.
Awesome. I'm so happy to meet you.
I'm so glad.
Thank you for joining this party with a purpose. All right, so we are here and we're back with Black Writers Weekend. I'm with another special guest. I'm going to let her introduce herself. What's your name, girl?
Hi, my name is Andrette Chapman, known as Andy the Author on Instagram.
Awesome.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Tell us about your phenomenal book.
Yeah, so this book is called Don't Punch Your Boss in the Face, How to Effectively Work with Difficult People.
Oh, now look. That can be an all-day conference.
It's an all-day conversation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What inspired this book?
Well, I worked with some challenging people over the years in corporate America. And at one particular point in time, I was pushed to the edge. Like, I literally envisioned myself doing something to someone that I reported to. And it really struck a chord in me because it brought about so much rage and anger. And I felt at that moment, if I'm feeling this way, thousands of people are feeling this way. But because of my faith, I'm a born again Christian. At least I try to be.
Look, I am
That's
too.
my faith.
I get renewed every day.
Yes. New mercies every day. That's what I'm riding on. And in that moment, I felt like here I am, a born again believer, and I'm feeling all this rage towards this individual who didn't know God. So then I felt at that moment, something has to change. So instead of spazzing out like I envisioned, I went to the bathroom and I cried. And I'm like, God, you have to take this away because, you need your job. You need your job, and people know that, and they take advantage of that. And this happened back in like 2011. So I've been working on this book since 2011. And so I had to go through different things in the workplace because even though I left that situation, other jobs, I ended up with the same type of personality, working with people that were pushing me to the edge. Right. So then God showed me, Andy, it's you. There's something about you. I have to get out of you in order for this change to occur. Yes. And so that's why I wrote this book. It's really a spiritual approach on how to work with difficult people.
You know what? I'm laughing to myself because we have had that moment. All of us can say where we really want to punch our bosses in the face,
co-workers.
And when you said you go into the bathroom and you cry, I'm thinking about when I was in pharmaceutical sales and working in the media. I'm not gonna say the name. It's a big name. It's a big name. And but this last one was a heartbreak for me. I did not want to leave that job. I knew that I needed it to get where I needed to go. But it was only because I needed to fix something on the inside of me. And it wasn't so much my attitude because I have a very positive attitude. And I went into this job thinking, all right, I'm going to do everything right because I need this. I really need this to go right. Whatever happens, I'm just going to let it flow. But man, did I walk into an atmosphere that just shook my world. I was stressed out every day. I had anxiety. People did not like me. And I was wondering, I said, now, how do I go from being liked all my life to the point where everybody can't stand me? It's because my position has changed.
Your position has
changed. You hear me?
Yeah, and it's all about growth and development. Let me tell you. So I worked for one supervisor. She didn't know why she didn't like me. Well, actually, she did. She realized that I was who she always wanted to be. But she had sacrificed a lot to be in her position. So she gave up on a lot of the things that I was pursuing in my relationships and outside of the work. So she kind of envied that. And so God just showed me the different personalities. And everyone has a different working style. And then also, too, my attitude. Because I came in with preconceived notions, especially being a woman of color. When you're the only woman of color on the job, you kind of have like this you kind of become defensive.
Yeah,
and you're a target. Let's talk about it. Sometimes it is your imagination because you are defensive, so it's like a form of post-traumatic stress disorder because of life. And a lot of times it is what it is.
Girl, we're gonna have to get in a quiet space with you, because. But this is a fun book. This is what we're going to talk about.
A lot of people see the cover and they go, oh, it's an angry black girl. But no, you really need to read the content. So the table of contents, I have, if you don't mind, can I read it?
Do your thing.
So I have The Witch of Midtown. I worked in New York City and Midtown. Then I said getting paid to do nothing. That's like when you work for somebody or work with somebody.
The ultimate sucker.
And then the ultimate sucker. Everybody works the ultimate.
And that's the one that gets smashed the most. Because that's what I had to do. I said, I'm going to come in there, be friendly and bubbly and happy and honey, they smash.
No,
they don't like that. They want you to come in there and be messy and be this and that and the other. Girl,
and then you have how in the HE double hockey sticks, how in the hell you got this job. And then, oh no, should I quit? And then powerless, don't hate the intern. And then new employee hazing. When you're being hazed on the job because you're new.
Yes.
And then I have the truth behind human resources. Human resources. And then I have understanding different working styles because a lot of times it's a matter of personality. And then the last one, going to work with a broken heart and returning to work after a loved one dies. A lot of times people are going through things you don't know what they're really dealing with, and that explains their behavior on the job.
Wow.
So don't punch your boss in the face.
Oh my God, you are awesome.
You are too.
I'm so happy that you wrote this book, and I really want Oprah to get her hands on it. Like, this is awesome. Like, I'm honestly like, oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah,
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you for
So tell people how they can buy this book.
Okay, so this book is available on Amazon.com. But you can't use Andrette Chapman. You have to use Andy the author, because you know I had to go under an alias because I still work a 9 to 5. And then you can also go to andytheauthor.com. And Andy, that's ANDIE, the author on Instagram. And, follow me from there.
This is hot. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining this party with a purpose. We'll be back with the next guest. So we're going to dive right back in. We have another special guest. I'm going to let her introduce herself. What's your name?
Hey, I'm Karen Strong.
All right, Karen. So tell us about your book. What's the name of your book?
Okay, my book is called Just South of the Home. It's a middle grade novel for 8 to 12-year-olds.
Okay. And tell us what inspired the book. Like, what's your message?
Okay, so I grew up in a small town in southern Georgia, and I wanted to concentrate on a story about a southern family who's coming to grips with their past. Their past is going to be literally haunting them. So there are 4 kids. The protagonist is Sarah, and she and her 3 friends are going to solve a ghost mystery in their small southern town.
Nice. All right. So you were actually one of the panelists today on the panel.
Yes.
What were some of the things that they were talking about?
We were actually talking about our inspiration of how we came to be writers and what brought us to our books, and also how to navigate the publishing industry, particularly the traditional publishing industry as a Black author.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining the show. Tell people how they can find you online and also on social media as well.
Absolutely. You can find me online at karen-strong.com. That's where you can find all my news and where my events are going to be and future books. Things are going to be announced soon. And then you can follow me on all social media on Twitter and Instagram at Karen Musings.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining this party with a purpose. I will catch you next time. And thank you for what you do for the community.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So we are back right here with our special guest. I'm going to let her introduce her beautiful self. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm Brianna McDaniel. I'm the author of a picture book called Hands Up.
Okay.
And it came out in January out of Dial Books for Young Readers, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House. And I'm very excited that this whole Black Writers Weekend even exists. It's incredible.
Know. This is an incredible event. Like, it's a really good place to connect and, actually, connect with people, network with people that are in the industry.
Yes.
And you're helping other people also to get into the writing industry.
Yes.
So tell us about your book more. Like, what's the name of your book?
So the book is Hands Up, and I wrote it it's a direct response to in 2014, Michael Brown was murdered, and so it's my response to this in conversation with, I think, a subset of our population that we don't think about often, which are young kids, but they ingest the images. They ingest the different experiences that are going on around them. We don't think about what happens when kids are watching the news alongside us. It's kind of like, well, maybe kids think that's boring or not. But I remember my nieces and my nephews, because at the time we were watching wherever I went, the news was on a loop in the houses that I was going into. And my nieces and my nephews stopped to watch the protests that were on the TV. They stopped to watch what people were saying, and I don't know what they were ingesting about it, but Hands Up is specifically about Black Lives Mattering. So the mattering, what happens when we acknowledge the humanity of our kids and we see them in the mattering of their lives. And so there's a little girl, her name is Viv, and her name literally means life. And so she is a Black girl who is life personified, and there's intergenerational solidarity. There is a community. There's a cooperative economics within their community, and there is, of course, the book protest. And I think that those 3 things specifically are at the heart of how we can keep moving forward as an African American community, a Black American community, is keeping in mind cooperative economics, keeping in mind that protest is, I think, it's a necessary part of our experience in moving toward liberation and then also intergenerational solidarity.
Wow, I just love what you bring to the community. Thank you for what you do. So tell people how they can find you online and where they can shop for your book and social media.
So you're welcome to find me or hit me up at Bremac Books, BREMAC Books. On Instagram, I check that more than I check anything else. But you could also find me on Twitter at ReadWellBeWell. ReadWellBeWell. I'm not really on Facebook, but you can also, my website is BriannaJMcDaniel.com. So go to your bookstores or any bookstore really. You can, I'm at Barnes & Noble and those standard bookstores, but support indie bookshops.
Yes.
I'm going to be actually at Loyalty Books, which is a Black-owned bookstore. It's a Black-owned bookstore in DC, and that's going to be the 22nd of June.
Awesome. Are you from DC?
I'm not. I'm from College Park, Georgia.
Oh, okay. Yeah. College Park. Well, thank you so much for joining this party with a purpose. I really do enjoy your energy. Thank you for what you bring to the table and what you brought to the audience today. And I'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we are back right here at Black Writers Weekend, and I'm right here with a special guest. Tell us your name.
My name is Robin Devenish.
All right. So, Robin, tell us about your book today.
Well, actually, I came to talk about me.
Oh, okay. So tell me why are you here? Why are you here, baby? I love it.
Well, truthfully, I'm here because tomorrow I will be participating on the Dope Reads panel.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So again, like I stated before, my name is Robin Devenish. I am known as the self-publishing maven, your go-to girl for writing, publishing, and profitability. And so what I do is I help people from idea, concept, to actual book in hand for the person who wants to self-publish.
Wow. So tell us some of the challenges that we have in our community that you can answer some of those questions that they might have to start publishing a book.
Well, one of the main questions that I get consistently is how do I start?
Okay.
Or where do I start?
Yes.
I say just start or create some type of soft outline to kind of get an idea of where you want to go with the book. How do you want to get started? What do you want to say?
Right.
You need to know what type of genre you're writing for. Is it fiction? Is it nonfiction? So asking yourself those basic questions and doing the proper research, that will help you to get started. So that is one of the questions that I hear often. Another question I hear in terms of self-publishing, what type of self-publishing companies are out there, because there are different types of publishers, right? Mm-hmm. There's traditional publishers, there are vanity publishers, then there are some companies that say you are self-published, but you're not self-published if you take certain things from them, like if they do your book cover or different things like that. You're not considered self-published. Okay. And so people also ask me, what is the definition of self-publishing? Self-publishing, the definition is you take all the responsibility, financial, creativity, and it's all your responsibility. So that means that if you sign up for a particular company that says, okay, well, we'll give you a free ISBN number, you're not considered self-published. Yes, you did it yourself, but you're not necessarily considered self-published because you didn't purchase your own numbers, which is something that you can do. So that's some of the questions that I receive. I've received questions about book covers and the whole gamut, right? Yeah.
So tell us some of the benefits of being a self-publisher.
Okay.
Besides working with a publishing company.
Okay, so the benefits of being a self-publisher is that you have all the creative rights in terms of your title, in terms of the content. It's your creative work. You don't have to necessarily answer to someone in terms of royalties and making money. You get all the money as opposed to you going through a company, or let's just say a traditional publisher, where if they give you an advance, you have to make all of that money back first before they even give you any money, right? Before they give you any additional money.
Right.
So the money aspect, definitely, the creative aspect, of course, and just having that freedom. And so actually that's how I got into this, because I self-published my first book and I made a lot of mistakes, gave up my rights, just a lot of things that went wrong, and that's how I learned how to do it the correct way, and then eventually it turned into a business.
I love it. And how long have you been in business?
Oh wow. So I've been helping people to self-publish, write self-published books, I say roughly mid-2010, but I had started teaching and helping people to do it for free, I say about 2007. So at that time, self-publishing was popular, but not as popular as it is now.
Like everybody's coming.
Everybody's coming. Yeah. Which I love. But I really believe that everyone has at least one story inside of them. Now that, I don't know, it's, different people write books for different reasons.
Absolutely.
Some people write it because they want to leave legacy or something behind for their children or grandchildren to learn. Some people do it for money. Some people do it for recognition. Some people do it because they want to be considered as an expert. So people write books for different reasons, but I feel that if you've lived long enough and you have a certain level of expertise in something, you can definitely, pen your own book.
I really believe that your story is your glory. And thank you so much for, dropping those gems. Like, tell people how they can find you, because you are the go-to person. You know your stuff.
Thank you so much. So if you would like to find me, you can go to my website, robinedevonish.com, or on social media, mostly Facebook and Instagram, Robin Devonish. That's a unique name, so you're not going to find so many Robin Devonishes out there. So the correct spelling is ROBIN. D as in David, EV as in Victor, ONISH.
Amen. Everybody, book her. Let's talk about booking her.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining this party with a purpose, and thank you for what you do and what you bring to the community. We need more of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So we are back at Black Writers Weekend. It's going down right here on Fire to Inspire the podcast. I know it's been a long day, but we have so much more to come. And I'm still sitting here with another guest speaker. I'm going to let her introduce herself. What's your name, sweetheart?
Hello, my name is Deshauna Robinson Bells, and I'm a vendor today at Creative Con, and I write poetry. I'm here today promoting my book, Dream, Reach, Achieve, Prosper. And it's a book of 30 short poems, and each poem consists of a challenge. Who doesn't like a challenge,
Right.
And I wanted to do something different. I just didn't want it to just be a book of poems. I wanted it to be something that people can take with them, keep with them, like fall in love with and refer back to. So each poem is intended to help someone beat procrastination and just be that extra motivational push for them.
Yes.
And I started Drake Social. Drake Social is the business aspect of it, and I started it in honor of my father, who was killed in April 10th, 1994. Thank you. So, I just wanted to turn a negative to a positive. I want to keep my father's name alive, and I just want to feel better, It's kind of hard when you're going through those emotions and you have all these questions, and I just put it into my writing. I'm always one to help motivate others, inspire others, and try to uplift people, and I thought this is a perfect way to do it with a book that people can relate to. It's different kind of poems that anyone can become one with. And I just took different approaches, and I just wanted people to feel like, all right, I could utilize this. I could go back to this and just remember whatever creative ideas came up in the moments of reading it or finishing a challenge.
Yes. Well, do you have a passage in the book that you really love and you'd like to share on the show today?
One of my
something
favorites.
quick and fun.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Okay. So one of my favorites is "Hand Me the Mic." This gives me more of a old school kind of play feel. So I could just get right into it for you.
Okay.
So it goes, Hand me the mic, pass me the liquor. I got some things I need to get off my chest. With dignity and a bit of a slur, my voice will be heard. Grabbing my mug and clenching my vest, your boundaries are no battle for what I possess. My knowledge, my stamina, my focus, my drive, my ability to thrive. Through the darkness, a vicious panther arrives. Grounded and head held high, you're gonna hear me roar in this concrete jungle. Hand me the mic, pass me the liquor. Even my sober thoughts got this savage in me.
Oh, drop the mic, man. I felt that. That was really good.
And it just feels like I wrote this thinking like, okay, I'm on the stage, I'm chilling, I'm talking to my friends, and you know, sometimes you have those moments where like your sober thoughts are like what your thoughts would be when you're intoxicated.
You're right. You're right.
So,
and I feel like I'm real deep, and people don't always understand me, but I understand me.
Yep.
And that's why you create platforms where you can tell your story.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. And what's the challenge on that one?
So the challenge for this one is create your success drink and go for this drink when following your dreams. Without a care in the world, living your best life, how savagery, dignified, and vicious are you? And then I have the words dignity, savage, vicious, and then it says, pour your own troubles, 1.5 ounces blank, 1 ounce blank, and a splash of blank. So I wanted to be creative, like, so when you put those words where you see fit, and then think of it as a drink. If you go make a drink, and if you don't drink alcohol,
Make your own cocktail.
like a smoothie,
Like
whatever it is you want to make,
Yeah.
you know, and then just think of something that makes you happy. So
Yes.
a drink that you go to, like, oh, this is always going to make me happy.
Yeah.
And remember that.
You're so dope. Like, this is different. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and tell people how they can buy this book online and find you on social media.
Okay, so my book is available on Amazon. You can go to Amazon.com and type in Drape Social. That's DRAP Social. And also you can find it on my website, drapsocial.com. And all my social media is Drape Social. And you can just find all my information there. And, you know, check us out. I also blog on my website.
Awesome.
And I have a bunch of new things coming. I'm trying to get this motivational speaker side. You know, I'm trying to tap into that bag and just bring out the different creators in me.
Well, you definitely got that fire, so keep doing it. I promise you it's going to go. I'm telling you, because you have something so beautiful, and people don't do poems anymore. That's like out of style now. Like, you don't hear about it. So right here, I love poems. I used to write poems when I was a little girl, but I got away from it. Because life happens.
Yeah, and that's what happened with me. And that's what made me write this book. I lost my love for writing. I didn't necessarily lose it, but with everything going on in the world,
so
it's
busy.
Like you lose track of what makes you happy. And I found myself like
lose track of what makes you you.
Yes. Correction.
Okay.
So that's what made me go back and write. Like I'm from New York. I literally was writing all of these poems on the train to and from work.
Wow.
Literally
I love
wrote this
it.
whole book.
I love it. You guys go get her book right now. It's going down right here on Fire to Inspire. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, it is a wrap for Black Writers Weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in to this party with a purpose. It has been a grand day in Atlanta, and I hope you guys learned so much. And if you have a story, remember, your story is your glory. Just put it out there. Everybody has a story within themselves, and we want to hear your story. So please tune in on Fire to Inspire each Tuesday, and follow your girl on Instagram at I am Angel Yasmin, and check me out on my website at angelyasmin.com. Thank you so much for joining this party with a purpose, everyone. All right, it's getting real hot up in here because I am so fired up.